Greenskins are undoubtedly very strong. Their most obvious downside, though, is on average they've got pretty poor leadership, definitely among the bottom 3 of non-undead factions in terms of average leadership. Probably like about the same as the Beastmen, maybe slightly better than Skaven, it's hard to say. But quickly before we get to the fun here, this was submitted by a viewer here, playing the Tomb Kings, Ark in the Black, plus Cimmerian War Sphinx. We've got Nikesh's Scorpion Legion, a few Skeleton Spears, and a line of Tomb Guard. Kepler Guard is one of them. Nekar Horsemen out to the flanks as well. Big old line of Orc boys with some Stone Trolls and Goblins. Some of them do have Fanatics, I believe. No, actually. I guess it's because they're enemies, I can't actually see whether they have Fanatics or not. That's interesting. WARZAG, so already Greenskin's off to a good start, 'cause it's NotGromskins, which is definitely, you know, a good thing to see, let's say. Because Grom is very much OP right now. WARZAG, though, definitely no pushover. Already just lighting up King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion. Pretty high, not high value, but kind of mid-tier spear unit to be bunker busting like that. Already set into crumbling, but on average, Greenskins have lower leadership, right? And what that means is, in Lore of Death, you've got this little spell right here, which is actually the highlight of today's replay. Doom and Darkness, minus 16 leadership. On a single target. If you overcast, it gives it an area of effect as, yes, in fact, I was going to say, I think these are Fanatics, I'm pretty sure. And immediately just tearing apart a Tomb Guard, very expensive unit, but that does deal quite a bit of friendly fire to these Night Goblins. Trolls are also rushing in now. Over here, we've got the Cimmerian War Sphinx and Nekar Horsemen kind of breaking up the Greenskins' advance, interrupting some units, trying to force some piecemeal engagements, which is definitely good. But let's take a look here, keep the trolls in view and watch, and more importantly, listen for that telltale sign and sound of Doom and Darkness. Looks like that is going to be popped. And you can hear that very distinct screeching. That is Doom and Darkness. Wa also popped at the same time, but not one Night Goblin shatters, and these 2 Stone Trolls actually just straight up rout. Not even any terror involved. Just straight up rout, surrounded by undead forces, more or less full HP, and even though they were probably going to win that fight, maybe not with the spears there, but regardless, I mean, still, they'll do very well. They're just going to run away. Nekar Horseman can then follow them up and hopefully not allow them to come back, or at the very least get some free damage. You know, it's free real estate in the meantime while they're running away. So that creates a really nice opportunity for Tomb Kings. Yeah, they do actually shatter this one unit of Orc Boys here. This other unit of Stone Trolls also takes significant damage during that time. So just a quick Doom and Darkness, and some of those units are apt to run away. Now the Cimmerian War Sphinx gets involved, going to just absolutely maul WARZAG. He is relatively squishy, main downside, even though he's quite a powerful lord. Some more Fanatics get thrown through these skeletons over here. Just a couple of successive casts, going to absolutely just break all of the bones here. Straight up, that's going to do a lot of damage, but unfortunately for them, I mean, Greenskin's Night Goblin still routing. The Summon du Shanti, it looks like here, also struggling. Not quite crumbling yet, but once the Tomb Kings can kind of fold around this flank, get some rear charge action, present a really nice opportunity for another Soul Blight. You can see, like, this Orc Boy already shaken, right? They're not feeling too happy, a little bit of wavering, and then once that wavering kicks, yeah, something got cast there. Maybe that was actually a Spirit Leech. I didn't quite catch. But, yeah, you can see the Stone Trolls are actually hanging on to their leadership. But here comes next cast of Soul Blight. Another Brain Burst are going to be thrown in here for good measure. Try and juice up the melee stats, or Foot of Gork even. Wow! Massive Foot of Gork. Just ransacks those skeletons. Keeps the balance of power close, but again, both of the Stone Trolls in this pocket being routed by that Doom and Darkness. And despite the get back here also being popped a little late there, Stone Trolls are still routed. WARZAG being forced away by some of these spears and the Summon du Shanti and so forth. And yeah, the Cimmerian War Sphinx able to kind of follow up a little bit. Another unit of Stone Trolls did come back from routing. They're regenerating. One way out here in the distance is still getting chased by some Skeleton Horsemen, which is excellent value on the Horsemen's part. We do have some more over here that are back from rout, but they're very tattered and scattered. And as a result, probably won't be able to contribute much to the fight, especially considering that Wurzag is now surrounded by Nehekara horsemen, alone, no doubt terrified. Yes, in fact, actually terrified by the Khemrian War Sphinx, and just gets killed there straight up. Oh, man. That's what you get for not picking Grom. I do think potentially they need to actually buff some of the other Greenskins lords just slightly, and I know that's probably a controversial thing to say, but Grom is definitely OP and needs nerfs. There's no question about that. Balance power is still pretty close, though, as some of these trolls do come back. The loss of leadership, though, from Wurzag will be pretty significant. That being said, Tomb Kings are quite tattered. Khemrian War Sphinx is kind of the only healthy unit left besides not Cetra. Wow, that's a mistake not to make again. Cetra would definitely have my head for that. Arcan, rather, who is, I guess there's some more Nehekara horsemen over here as well. Has the ability to summon some skeleton warriors, potentially. Trying to keep this stone troll routed. You can see that balance power very, very quickly starts to tip once more units get routed and finished, like that. Troll over there shatters. Start to have some other units shatter here. Another wah pops, and Khemrian War Sphinx gonna skedaddle on out of there. Screen out with some of these Tomb Guard. And just let the infantry kind of soak in before turning around to fight here. And yeah, looks like another potential opportunity for Doom and Darkness. Trolls aren't that low on leadership yet, but you can see Cetra's again, I made that mistake. Oh, geez, 2 times in one video. Arcan making his way over. Pops Liber Mortis to help resist some of the damage there. Help the Khemrian War Sphinx and the Tomb Guard sustain. Gonna charge in himself, and one more Doom and Darkness, along with some timely Nehekara horsemen in from the other side. That should be the end. You can see immediately the trolls just all turn, and nope, on out of there. Oh, man. That should make some people happy, seeing, like, full health Stone Trolls just run for the hills. Definitely their biggest weak point. Stone Trolls are undoubtedly a very strong unit. Greenskins are a strong faction in general. A little bit of an interesting build, I will say. Not necessarily the strongest, but at the same time, not super weak either. 181 kills on Wurzag. Ended up getting quite a bit of damage out. The buffs, though, didn't really result in that much value on most of his troops. Some of the Fanatics got some really nice casts, especially on the Tomb Guard, but largely the Stone Trolls were kept in check by the leadership damage of Doom and Darkness there. So really nice spell to have in your arsenal against the Greenskins. Anybody that can take Lore of Death, it's definitely something to think about, especially overcasting it on a big blob like that. If you can get a surround, especially if you think the Greenskins player you're up against is likely to form a big blob like that, there's a good argument to be made for bringing Doom and Darkness to help supplement some other terror or, you know, leadership damage tools. Obviously, all undead units cause fear, so it's especially good for them, and also have plenty of access to terror units as well on the Tomb King side. Yeah, Arcan doesn't do all that much damage in terms of value damage, but lots of leadership damage. The Nehekara horsemen kind of reap some of the rewards of that. 2 of them performing quite well in terms of cost, and 1200 damage value on the skeleton horsemen. That's kind of the direct result of the leadership damage there. Khemrian War Sphinx also excellent performance, taking out Wurzag and helping to hold back the Stone Troll Tide. And yeah, just very fun build. Big thanks to Bowie for sending that one in. I forget your Discord username. I apologize. I'm a terrible person. Anyway. Yeah, Doom and Darkness, available for quite a few factions, and especially helps when you stack that on top of other leadership effects, like Discourage, for example, if we go back to the Tomb Kings. Didn't have one in that build, and maybe you didn't necessarily need it, but just, you know, as a kind of point of discussion, you can stack that with, for example, this Take Cover here from the Screaming Skull Catapults. I'm trying to think, do you have any other abilities or units that affect leadership? I don't actually remember. I don't play Tomb Kings, honestly, frequently enough to remember about, like, these curses and stuff. Yeah, I don't think so, but, I mean, obviously, with other factions, you can definitely take advantage of things. I'm actually thinking now, like, who has both Discourage and Doom and Darkness? I'm not sure, but like Dark Elves, for example, not that this is a necessarily super viable strat because the Charybdis is not amazing to begin with, but you do have like this Abyssal Howl here, right? So in theory, you could potentially throw the Charybdis to try and tank the blob, although it doesn't have the same... yeah, it doesn't quite have the same tank ability, but at the same time, you have that negative leadership, right? You can kind of stack some other things in. If you do have, like this guy, right, Discourage on Black Lotus for the K-Knight Assassin, he's a much more common pick and actually a pretty solid character overall if you use him correctly. So you could take him, take that Black Lotus, and use that alongside the Doom and Darkness from Lore of Death. I think, like, maybe Malice also has a potential leadership debuff, right, if I'm not mistaken. One of these two here. Yeah, minus 16 leadership does cause damage to himself, but then again, that's just Malice's thing, so he'll probably be fine. I don't know, some potential for interesting combinations, and the biggest thing, though, is to, in addition to supplemental abilities, right, like, all of this kind of ability synergy is nice, but really the biggest thing is just to have the fundamentals of, like, from what we saw there, units that cause fear, you know, good surround, and rear charges and side charges and kind of outnumbering your enemy. That's going to be the biggest asset. Of course, other abilities to stack, also nice to look for, but really, just keep in mind the fundamentals, positioning, and everything. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. See you next time.